got disconnected. I'm once again coming here. Okay, good morning. Due to some internet problem, it got disconnected. Okay, there was a question from Shubham about the why. Hello, can someone give me feedback? It was disconnected. I have joined back. Is it visible, audible, screen, monitor, everything, so that I can continue?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay, Shubham has asked here why this is 506. So when I checked it back, so actually there is a mistake here in this problem. How this 506 is taken, I will quickly elaborate. So actually the cylinder diameter is 506 actually. It should have been taken not 506, but it should have been taken as a half of 500. That is 250, I guess, right?
Radius gauge असतो sir.
Radius काय?
Radius असते तिथं.
हा तेच की मग हे 500 सिलेंडर वाउंड केल्यानंतर हा बेंट जर घेतला तर तो हा रेडियस येतोय ना. सो instead of 500 it should be 250 and plus thickness if we take, so maybe we should take here 250.5, something like that, and then you do the procedure is correct, only this radius is some mistake here, so maybe it will come, I guess 200 answer, around 200. Check this. Okay, let us continue. Next problem, this I have explained you. Let us go to next problem. So in this case, we had derived it, but let me once again repeat this because it has been asked several times. So what is asked is if maximum fiber strength is asked, should not for the uniform strength beam. So what we have seen for the uniform strength beam, so M by I is equal to sigma by, or you can directly use the formula sigma is equal to M by Z, and therefore M is equal to sigma into Z. Okay, M is equal to sigma into Z, and for the rectangular section, sigma is sigma into BD square by 6. So what is asked here? For a cantilever beam, with span L and uniform depth, means D is constant. If it is subjected to point load W at free end, so it is a cantilever beam, point load W at free end, length is there, and you can see moment is nothing but W into L. Maximum bending moment. If maximum fiber stress is not to exceed F, so here what is given? Sigma is equal to F given. The width of cantilever beam at fixed end. So B is asked. So first of all, we will calculate B. So what will be that? This 6 will go here and sigma and D square will come down. So B is equal to 6M divided by sigma D square. 6M sigma D square. And now M is known, W into L, 6W into L. Okay. And sigma is F D square. So that is my B value. Okay. So, and then that's why this answer. So sometimes we get confused with the which one is constant. Width is constant or depth is constant. If width is constant, then you should understand square root answer will come because it's a D square. let's go to next problem. A cantilever beam has a square cross section of 10 mm by 10 mm. So let us use pen. A cantilever beam has a square cross section 10 mm by 10 mm. It carries a transverse load of 10 Newton. It is given here. Considering only the bottom of the beam, the correct representation of the longitudinal bending stress is. So they have asked the bending stress sigma at the bottom part will be. So you should remember sigma is equal to m by z. Okay, and you get the bending stress here. Sorry, bending moment. M will be, I guess, 10 Newton meter. Okay, 10 Newton meter, and Z will be how much? If you take Z here it is calculated. So Z is this. M is 10 Newton meter, and if you get converted into mm, so it will become 10 into 10 raised to 3 Newton mm. And if you substitute m value as a 10 into 10 raised to 3 Newton mm divided by Z as a 166.66 mm cube, and that you will get as a around 60 Newton per mm square. So that's the answer. So you can see which one there. With respect to variation with respect to whether this diagram, now answer we know 60 MPa. So which one, A or C? Can you explain why this is coming answer inclined straight line? Why not this parabola?
Point load because of UDL.
But stress distribution
UDL
along
is
the
not there.
no stress
Because
distribution.
point load.
Stress distribution is also again okay. So because of point load, actually, let me give further more elaboration about this. Why not parabola and why not? Even though if we see what happens, this distribution is dominated by movement. You have to remember this distribution is dominated by movement. So why? Because now sigma is equal to m by z. Okay, now m is a function of what? M is a function of x. म्हणजे जसा x बदलेल तशी m ची व्हॅल्यू बदलते. आपल्याला कुठं विचारलं, इथं आन्सर विचारलं आणि तिथून आपल्याला स्ट्रेट लाईन with respect to s. Z is function of what? Z is constant. Okay, Z is constant. Why Z is constant? कारण Z आपण का Z कॉन्स्टंट आहे? Z बदलतो का विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू Y? कोण सांगेल? What is definition of Z? फॉर्म्युला काय? I by Y max. Okay, so please understand Y max is constant. If uniform beam is there, Y max is constant and I is a constant. So that's why ratio of I and Y max is constant, and that's why this stress distribution of a particular location or specifically extreme fiber will become function of x only. आणि म्हणून जसं m चं डिस्ट्रीब्युशन आहे, सेम डिस्ट्रीब्युशन विल कम ऑफ दिस बेंडिंग स्ट्रेस. बघा, उत्तर सांगायचं सोपं आहे, त्याच्या मागची फिलॉसॉफी थोडंसं समजून घेऊया. बिकॉज once we understand the philosophy, why should we understand the philosophy instead of understanding answer of a particular problem? हा मुद्दा समजून घ्या. त्या प्रश्नाचं उत्तर बऱ्याचदा आलं की आपण खुश होतो, कशाला पुढचं दुसरं लय सर कीर्तन चालवत आहे. तर पर्पज असा आहे की वन्स यू अंडरस्टँड द फिलॉसॉफी का आलंय तसं, तर नवीन, कारण इन गेट दे एव्हरी टाइम दे विल ट्राय टू गिव्ह सम न्यू trick, new hitch, glitch, and once you keep on building your philosophy understanding, then whatever twist happens, you will able to think over based on your this philosophy improved background. and you will able to solve the problems. Okay, let's go to the next. A simply supported beam is made up of two wooden planks of same width resisting upon the other without friction, sorry, resting once upon the other without friction and without connection. So this is what I got confused earlier. Now what is said here, a simply supported beam, okay, let us understand. Simply supported beam made up of two wooden planks, दोन फाळ्या आहेत, one this and another is this. Okay, so of same width one upon another without friction, त्याच्यामध्ये मध्ये फ्रिक्शन नाही, थोडासा गॅप आहे. द अपर प्लँक इज ऑफ हाफ द थिकनेस कम्पेअर टू द लोअर प्लँक. सो लोअरची आपण टी पकडली किंवा खाल, अपर प्लँक इज हाफ, सो वी विल से टी अँड 2t. Okay, the assembly is loaded by uniformly distributed load on the entire span. The ratio of the maximum stress developed between top and bottom plank will be, so the moment taken will be separate. So you can see F1 Z1 is equal to F2 Z2, and that's why it will be nothing but stress ratio, and that is nothing but Z2 by Z1, and then if you take this ratio, it will come as a 1:4. Okay, let's go to the next problem. Is it audible? Someone is sending me message, not audible. प्रणाली माने येतंय का ऐकायला? हॅलो, बाकीच्यांना येतंय का सगळ्यांना ऐकायला?
हा येतंय सर.
ठीक आहे, थँक्यू शंकर. Okay, then this is unsymmetric beam. So as in the competitive exams, calculation of I will be very lengthy. That's why sometimes they give ready I value. So you should not be worried, इतका मोठा I दिलाय, त्याची I value काढायचा खूप वेळ जाणार वगैरे. So you can notice here the cross section beam is shown in figure with I-axis is equal to 3 into 10 raised to 6. So that is the difference between the competitive exam and university exam. So here I calculation is not expected, readily given. Subjected to load as shown in figure, maximum tensile stress in the beam would be. So you have to draw the bending moment diagram, and you have to get the what you call where will be the maximum load bending moment, and then from that you have to get the which side tensile comes or whether it is compressive. Please understand that. So let me draw the bending moment diagram for this. Okay, is it symmetric? Good part is that this is symmetric. So the load, what you call, reaction can be directly written 0.3 and 0.3, and then you can draw the diagram 0.3 into 3, 3 is a 0.9, right? And from this it is coming as a 0.9. So, and I guess this continues like this. So it's a 0.9 into kilonewton meter is getting converted into 0.9 into 10 raised to 6 Newton mm. Once you know the m value, you can calculate z t. Now you see which side it will have the what you call tension. You have to be very careful. So if you see, this is like a this part is like a cantilever beam, and then it will push down like this. So bottom part will be compressive and top part will be tension. So that you have to understand. अगोदर मी सांगितलं होतं, जर कॅन्टिलिव्हर बीम आहे तर तो असा बेंट होणार आणि त्यामुळे आतल्या बाजूला कॉम्प्रेशन येणार, टॉप साइडला टेन्शन. तेच जर if we would have been like in a उलट झालं असतं तर सिम्पली सपोर्टेड बीम असता तर उलट झालं असतं. अँड दॅट्स वाय यू हॅव टू टेक दॅट ॲज अ 70 अँड देन if you get ZT from this, and then you get the F value as a 20 Newton per mm square, that is nothing but 21 Mn per meter square. Okay, so let us go ahead. Okay, one more flitched beam problem. Here you can see very here you can understand the stresses are fibers that are at different levels. So this problem can be solved in a two different ways, but this is the simplest method we found, that is converting into equivalent beam. How to convert into equivalent beam we have discussed yesterday by dividing this width by m, wooden चा steel मध्ये. So you have to convert the complete structure into wooden to steel structure. So how will you do that? If you take this, already we have the steel part that is of 10 by 100. Okay, then axis is like this. This wooden part has to be converted into steel. So how will you convert wooden part into steel? Width will be divided by 20. So it will be 100 by, this width is how much? Width of wooden part is 100. So 100 by 20 modular ratio will give us 5 mm. So this wooden part now we have converted into steel part. And that's why width become 500, depth will remain same, 200, depth will remain same, and then another steel part. Now everything became of steel only, everything became of steel part only, everything became of steel part. So using this, we can calculate moment of resistance. We can calculate moment of resistance. For that, what you have to do first is you have to calculate I equivalent of this material. So how is the I equivalent calculated? 2 into 10 into 100 cube. 2y2, this is 1 and this is 2. 2 into 10 into 100 cube by 12. And then wooden part which got converted into steel part, that is 5 into 200 cube by 12, and from that you get I equivalent. And once you know I equivalent, you substitute into the formula m is equal to sigma into I by y. So what is sigma? For the we have to get the sigma as a for the wood. Somewhere here mistake is there. So 5 into 10 raised to 6, 160, how it is calculated. Okay, so it is converted into steel. So what will be the steel modular ratio at this this location? So 8 is the stress of wood. So you have to apply the formula sigma S is equal to m into sigma W. Sigma W wood stress is given as 8. So you can put as 8, and m is a 20. 20 into 8 is 160. Okay, so that's how this sigma is substituted. I equivalent is there. Y 100 mm we have to take extreme fiber, and from that you get the MR, moment of resistance. Now the question is maximum stress developed in the steel. maximum stress developed in the steel, or it should have been, instead of developed, it should have been allowed. So how you will do that? Again, you have to apply sigma is equal to m by my by I formula. In this case, now you have to understand the extreme fiber of the steel is at 50 mm from the neutral axis, and that's why m is known. You can substitute here, y is known, and I is known. So this is one way, but in the classroom we had studied in a different manner. So this is like a shortest way of calculating. Otherwise, what you can do is we can transform this at a different level, and then we can find out. So let us see this other way also, if we can solve, which one is the simplest. This is one method it was given here. So now we will draw the maybe stress distribution diagrams. Okay, so let me draw with red color the stress distribution diagram of wood. Okay, so stress distribution diagram of wood, this is 8 MPa, and it is asked that how much should be in the steel. So whether we will get from the equivalent part. So you can understand the stress in the wood at 80 MPa is at what distance is 100 mm from the neutral axis. Okay, then first of all we will have to calculate this sigma W at 50 mm. So we will say sigma W at 50 mm will be at 50, and this, if we do that, so it will come as a maybe 50%. So sigma W 50 is equal to 8 by 2 is equal to 4 MPa. Okay, and then now you know at 50 mm is the extreme fiber of steel. So sigma S is equal to m into sigma W 50. So let us see, 4 into, sorry, m is how much? 20 into 4 is 80. So our method is simplest one, I guess. So this is, so I'm scrapping this. So this method is good. So what we have to do is equivalent location we will have to find out. So here 8 MPa was the stress of the wood from this fiber at 100 mm. So first of all, in the wood we have to find out stress at 50 mm. तर 100 ला 8, तर 50 ला किती असणार आहे 4. 100 ला 8 तर 50 ला किती असणार आहे 4. सो सिग्मा W at 50 will be 4 MPa. आणि मग we have to apply the formula of modular ratio, कारण स्टीलचा फायबर एक्स्ट्रीम फायबर कुठे आहे 50 mm ला, आणि त्यामुळे सिग्मा स्टील विल बी नथिंग बट m into sigma wood at 50 mm. So then it will be 20 into 4 is equal to 80 MPa. So this is the simplest way. Let's go to they have made complicated. Let's go to the next problem. Okay, now here they have asked movement of resistance. You can use our earlier formula, otherwise what we have studied in the classroom, same formula we can use. So how to do that? It is addition of two movement of resistance. So I will say Mr is equal to Mr of steel plus Mr of W. And we have to understand that you have to take the stresses at the extreme fiber. Just now we had calculated the extreme fiber stress in the steel here was 80 MPa, and then we know this as a 8. So it is very simple. And how many steel plates are there? 2 steel plates. So I will multiply by 2 into sigma steel into Z of steel, that is BD square by 6, plus stress in the wood sigma W त्याच्या एक्स्ट्रीम फायबरला. कुठे आहे एक्स्ट्रीम फायबर? इथं. 4 घ्यायची नाही, वूडची एक्स्ट्रीम फायबर इथं आहे. सो सिग्मा W into BD square by 6. Okay, so 2 into sigma still how much is that? 80 Newton per mm square. And into B is how much? 10, and depth is 100 square by 6, plus wood, it is 8 into B, width of wood is 100 into depth of wood is 200 square by 6. I guess if you do all this calculation, you will get this into 10 raised to 6, 8 into 10 raised to 6 Newton mm. So which you can convert into kilonewton meter as a 8 kilonewton meter. Check this. I will go to the next problem. Okay, so we have finished the bending stress part. Now we will start to the shear stress due to shear force. So let me open that part. Okay, shear stress distribution or shear stresses due to shear force. Is it visible? Can you give me feedback? These new slides are visible. दिसतायत का सगळ्यांना? हॅलो 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 हॅलो, आहेत का लोक? Okay, someone give me. Okay, let's continue shear stress distribution. Shear stress distribution, you know what is the fundamental formula, that is tau is equal to we have studied SA y bar by IB or FA y bar by IB. So you understand each of the term here. F is nothing but shear force at the given section. By studying so many chapters, sometimes people get confused and they forget what is shear force. I have seen this most of the time. Students forget कुठून आणायचे shear force, from where we should get the shear force. So you should recall that when there is a beam, let us take simply supported beam with a W load L by 2. So there will be two diagrams. One is a SFD, shear force distribution diagram, SFD, and in this case it is a W by 2, W by 2, and W by 2, W by 2, and bending moment distribution, and that this will be WL by 4 BMD. Okay, so this maximum shear force in this SFD diagram is nothing but F. Okay, in the design of beam, when we have to take care of shear stresses, you have to take this maximum shear force generated in the beam. That is nothing but shear force. So you have to remember, for calculating bending stress, you have to get the BMD diagram and maximum of bending moment, or sometimes people will say at this and this location you take bending moment and take that bending, find out bending stress. And for finding shear stress due to bending, that will be from the SFD diagram. And then what is AY bar? We get confused. Please understand what is AY bar. So where we want stress, suppose if I want stress at this location, okay, then I will select the area beyond that axis. मला stress इथं पाहिजे या location ला. So I will select the area beyond that axis, this area. That is this A. And then CG of that area to the neutral axis. The distance between, what is y bar? Y bar is distance between CG of selected area, CG of selected area to the neutral axis, to the neutral axis. Okay, is it clear? So that is the y bar. Okay, and that's, they call it as a y bar is a term, is a together, that is movement of inner area. But if you have not understood, area multiplied by CG of that to the neutral axis, that is nothing but ay bar. And I, you know, of course, moment of inertia of that complete body, not the hatched part, complete body. B, you have to be very careful. B is, people make most of the time in the calculation of B. This is the width at that point beyond this. So for example, if I am calculating this T beam is there, or you can say I beam is there. Okay, I beam is there. And if I am calculating, this is neutral axis, and I am calculating stress here. So beyond this is this area. But you may say, sir, width is more here, small here. Which one width should be taken? So please understand, at that location of point where I am calculating the stress, we have to take the width. जितली stress आपण काढतोय, तितली width घ्यायची आहे. Okay, let's try to solve one problem here, so that we will come to know. So tau max is 3/2 of tau average. Such formulae you will have to remember in the exam. Actually, maybe we will. What was the formula? Tau is equal to SA y bar by IB. Okay, SA y bar by IB. And then if you take maybe this distance y, at which location you want to find out the what you call tau y, we will call tau y. Okay, then we can hatch this part, and see what it comes. So width is B. First of all, we need to calculate AY bar. Okay, so width is B. Okay, into you have to find out depth. How much will be depth? It will be D/2 minus Y. D/2 minus Y. That will be the width. D/2 minus Y. Okay, and what is Y bar? So Y bar is again it will be, Y bar is nothing but this depth is how much? D/2 minus Y. Okay, so Y bar will be D/2 minus Y. So divided by half, 2 will be this much. Okay, and this you have to subtract, that is from the D/2. So D/2 minus half of this, so it will become D/4 minus D/4 plus Y/2. Is it correct? D/2 minus half of this, this will become minus will become plus, and then it will become Y/2 minus it will become D/4. Let me clear one second. Let's start from the fresh. So what is this? D/2 distance is there, minus Y. So this we got as a D/2. This is correct. And then what we will do is we have to find out this distance. So this will be, let us call this as maybe some x dash. So x dash is nothing but half of d by 2 minus y. So this comes out as a d by 4 minus y by 2. Okay, and now what we want is this distance. Okay, this distance. Okay, so you can have y plus, okay, y plus d by 4 minus y by 2. Okay, that will be nothing but your y bar. So it will become d by 4 plus y by 2, d by 4 plus y by 2, that is y bar. Now you get ay bar is equal to b inside bracket d by 2 minus y into d by 4 plus y by 2. Okay, and then what you can do is you can multiply, and you will see this is a function of y square. This will become y square, and that's why. And then if you substitute this at the mid location, you will get the maximum value, that is tau max is equal to 3 by 2 f by bd, f by bd. And then as this y into y square is there, this stress distribution will come as a parabolic, because power of y is 2. That's what I wanted to show it here. Okay, so and then for each of the diagram, we will not spend time on such derivation. For each of the diagram, you can for each of the diagram you can get the tau max value and divide by its average stress. How are we calculating average stress? So average stress is nothing but force divided by it's a cross sectional area, force divided by cross sectional area. So you should know the cross sectional area of each of the diagrams. So always the average stress formula is force divided by cross sectional area. In this case, cross sectional area is BD. In case of circle, it will be pi d square by 4. So you should, instead of remembering complicated formulas, you should remember for each of the structure this thing. So lot of problems can be solved easily with this. For the rectangle, it is 3 by 2 tau average, and you know the tau average is f by area, b by d. And in case of circle, if problem is asked maximum shear stress in solid circular section, it will be 4 by 3 into tau average. Okay, so for the triangular case, it will not be at the CG. That is the exceptional case you have to understand, or you can say it is not at the neutral axis. Okay, so tau max is at h by 2. Maximum stress triangular मध्ये फक्त वेगळी असते. Otherwise in all other almost all other shapes, typical shapes, the what you call maximum stress, maximum shear stress comes at the neutral axis, except I'm saying in the triangular section. In the triangular section, maximum shear stress comes at the h by 2, that is at the half of the height, and that is nothing but 3 by 2 tau average. For the triangle also it is 3 by 2 tau average, and for the rectangle also it is t by 2 tau average. Okay, and at the neutral axis it is 4/3 of tau average. So similar to the circular, it is 4/3 of tau average. Okay, this is very rarely such odd shapes can be asked, but you don't know in the competitive exam, so I will not discuss much of the derivation. So for the rhombus shape, tau max will be 9 by 8 of f by a square, and you know a is this, that's why directly if you can get this. And this tau max will be at two different locations, that is from the top and from the bottom 3 by 8 of the d. For the I section, again, as I told you, it is with neutral axis with respect to the neutral axis. Sorry, maximum stress will be at the neutral axis. You don't have to remember directly like this. If it is complicated to remember, you can find out the tau max by using our SA bar by IB formula. So if I write it, how it comes, tau max is equal to your SA y bar, S is shear force, IB. You have to find out IB for the symmetric I section. If it is unsymmetric, it is little complicated, but for symmetric, you know, if this is a D and B of small d and B, then I can be easily calculated, that is BD cube by 12 minus 2 into BD cube by 12. So B is this and D is this, okay, for the part which has been removed. That's easily you can calculate I. You can substitute I here, and at neutral width is how much, whatever this small part, let us say thickness is given, you can substitute that, and that way you can directly get it. And AY bar, so you'll have to get this area multiplied by this distance plus this area multiplied by this distance. So you will have AY bar as A1Y1, P1Y1 bar plus A2Y2 bar. So you'll have to take the addition of 2. We'll see if some numerical is there, we can find out. But you should remember the stress distribution, shear stress distribution diagram. Yeah, so sometimes question may be asked for the shape of shear stress distribution diagram. So whatever we have seen, each of the shape you must remember, and where is the location of maximum shear stress. As I told you, except in case of triangle, for all other diagrams, typical diagrams, and of course rhombus also, maximum stress is not at the kind of neutral axis. It is at the two locations, 3 from the bottom part and 3 of the D of the bottom top part. Okay, so now see how problems are here. It's a simple problem. You can see here a timber beam of 100 mm wide and 150 mm deep. Beam is a simply supported and carries central point load. So if you don't know shear force and bending moment part, immediately you should do drawing diagram and etc. Now you should know the typical diagram, shear stress distribution, bending stress distribution. Within a fraction of second you should remember. So if you ask me which are the typical sections, like simply supported, point load at the center, simply supported, point load at the A, and then maybe UDL throughout the beam, and then maybe movement couple at the center. So these are the typical diagram whose SFD and BMD and maximum SF and maximum BM in these diagrams you should quickly know. And if you have furthermore remembering power, you can remember for the 2 W's at L by 2 and all that. So these are the standard examples which will be asked in the exam. So here it is asked that the beam of simply supported W at the center. As you know, the bending moment, shear force diagram will look like this, and the maximum shear force SF will be nothing but W by 2. And if maximum stress in shear is 2 Newton per mm square, what would be the corresponding load? So you can see the formula of maximum shear stress is applied. Q max is equal to 3 by 2 Q average. Okay, and then Q max is given, that is 2 Newton per mm square, and 3 by 2 W by so here Q average will be W by 2, and then what is B into D? Width is 100 and depth is 150. So it should, so here they have done, no, it's a For the simply supported, correct, W by 2 should be there, something wrong, 1 by 2 is missing in this calculation. So you should get this. By solving this, you get the W value. Please understand, even this book writing people have also done mistake. Okay, let's go to the next example. Okay, the beam has a triangular cross section having the base B, height H. If the section of the beam is subjected to shear force F, the shear stress at the level of neutral axis in the cross section is given by. So you should remember again here direct formula, that is tau at the neutral axis is 4/3 of tau average. And do you know maximum shear stress in the triangle? It is of course tau max is equal to 3/2 tau average. But question is asked at the neutral axis, so we have to find out at neutral axis. 4/3 of tau average. 4/3 F divided by area of triangle is 1/2 B into H, and if you rearrange, you get this answer. Okay, now let us solve some unsolved problems. Shear stress in any section at a distance y from the neutral axis, our standard formula, SA y bar by IB. So is there any answer here? Yep, y bar by. So here something wrong has gone. Yep, y bar by IB. So this should be the answer, correct? The A should be answer. Here he has given wrong. So answer is there. Yep, y bar by IB. Okay, this is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong. Okay. So let's go to the next question. So notation change you have to adopt immediately. A rectangle beam of 100 mm width, subjected to maximum shear force 50 kilonewton, the corresponding maximum shear stress being 3 Newton mm square, the depth of beam is equal to, so which is given rectangle. So what is formula? Tau max equal to 3/T tau average. So tau, what is tau average? Width divided by, sorry, load divided by cross section area. Load is W and cross section area is BD. Okay. So here, please be careful what is given, whether some beam and load combination. People get confused. इथं काय दिलेलं आहे? shear force डायरेक्टली दिलेला आहे. आणि मागे एक प्रॉब्लेम पाहिला होता, त्यात काय दिलं होतं? बीम दिला होता आणि लोड ॲट दी सेंटर दिला होता. इन दॅट केस maximum shear force will be W. Here maximum shear force is directly given. Otherwise some people get confused and they will divide by 2. That is wrong. Okay, so when directly shear force is given, that means F value is given. So if you rearrange this, you get this answer. Okay, let's go to the next example. Shape of the shear stress distribution diagram for a rectangular beam is, so you can see it's a pure parabola. Answer is A. For a rectangular cross section, the maximum shear force is dash dash percent than the average shear force. So you can remember what is formula. Tau max is 3/2 tau average, and then if you divide by tau max by tau average, so it will become 1.5. So how much is additional that is asked? More than average, that is 50%. 1 is 100%, beyond that is 50%. That's why 150% minus 100 is 50%. A sudden change. So please understand, we have to improve our technical English. How, what is meaning, what language has been twisted. If you don't get acquainted with this English, then it will be trouble. काही लोक मला मराठीत शिकवा म्हणतात, पण या लँग्वेज बद्दल, कारण तुम्हाला उत्तर पटापट त्याचं सुचणं, you have to get सुरुवातीला थोडं जाचक होतंय. But once you understand, I can reduce my speed. Maybe if you want me to do pronunciation in different form, I will do it, but please get acquainted with English words. Otherwise you will not understand. कुणी तर तुम्हाला मराठीत समजून सांगायला पाहिजे, मग तुम्हाला त्याचं उत्तर येणार. Then it is very difficult. So you should understand these words and terminologies, make it in the form of diagram, figure, picture, and then go to formula and then solve. That way it should be. A sudden change in shear stress distribution diagram at the cross section shows. कधी होती sudden change? Sudden change in depth of the section. Is it possible? Maybe we can open annotation. तुम्हाला अलाउड आहे, तुम्ही मार्क करू शकता उत्तर काय, तर उत्तर दिलेलंच आहे, त्यामुळे नो फन इन दॅट. सो जस्ट वी विल डिस्कस. सडन चेंज इन विड्थ. तुम्ही बघितलं असेल, विड्थ चेंज झाल्यानंतर टी सेक्शन, आय सेक्शन, देर इज अ सडन चेंज इन शियर स्ट्रेस डिस्ट्रीब्युशन. ओके, फॉर अ सर्क्युलर सेक्शन क्यू मॅक्स इज इक्वल टू किती असतंय? 4/3 ऑफ ॲव्हरेज. सो इट विल बी, आन्सर इज 4/3. In a triangular section with the depth h meter and the maximum shear stress occurs at, कुठं असते? Whether it is at h/3, 2h/3 or h/2 or at neutral axis. कुठं असते? Where it is? Obviously we know at the h/2 from the base. h/2 from the base. A beam of square section is placed horizontal. आपल्याला कळत नाही. Rhombus, when you may remember this for the rhombus, but you should know that the square section, when it is twisted horizontally, it becomes a rhombus section, and in that case you might have remembered this 3/8 d from the top, 3/8 from the neutral axis at any neutral axis. So answer should be 3/8 d from the top or bottom if there are two. Shear stress developed in a beam of a rectangular section to that of the average, you know, 3/2. That's a coming repetition. A ratio of average shear stress to the maximum shear stress in the square section, it will be tau max is equal to tau average. So what is question? Ratio of tau average to the maximum shear. So tau average, tau max is equal to tau this thing. So if you bring tau max this side, it will not be 3/2, it will become 2/3. You have to be very careful. What is asked? The ratio of tau average. So let me do this, even though it looks simple, you may make mistake. Ratio of tau average to the maximum, tau max. So you know this formula, so you'll have to bring it here. So 2 will go there and 2/3 tau average by tau max. So answer will be in not 3/2 but 2/3. Little twisting is done. So I forgot to tell you hint how to copy whatever I have written on the board. So you have option of taking screenshots. You learn in your mobile or computer. So whatever I have written, sometimes, even though it is dirty, but it comes in my mind while discussing. My handwriting is not good, but you can take screenshot and leisurely, if you have not understood, you can read it afterwards, whatever screenshots you have taken. Otherwise, all other these notes I'm going to share, but whatever I am scribbling here, you'll have to either visit my YouTube videos or you can take screenshots. A simply supported steel I-beam is subjected to shear force Q, and if the depth of the beam is maybe 2h, the maximum shear stress occurs at the distance from the bottom up. It is very easy. 2h depth is given, neutral axis is at h/2, that is 2h/2. It will become as a 1.0 h. So answer should be D. Okay, here the distribution of shear stress of a beam is shown in figure. The cross section we have to find out. So you can, this is little twisted, so you have to remember for the I section how diagram comes. It should be quite symmetric. For the square it is parabolic. For this thing. Triangular section also it is parabolic, but for the T section the diagram looks like this. Again, select the correct shear stress distribution diagram for the square beam with diagonal in the vertical position. It is what is said, diagonal in the vertical. It is twisted little bit. You have to be careful. Both there are two diagonals. Either you make diagonal vertical or horizontal. Shape will come something like this only. So you have to select the answer as a D. Okay. The shear stress distribution diagram for the beam of rectangular. Very easy answer. This parabola. The beam of a circular section, it's a stress distribution will be answer A. This, see, now the shear stress distribution over a beam cross section shown in the figure. So how will be the shear stress distribution is asked. Little twisted question. Equal flange of I section, whether it is possible when equal flange I section will be there if this distribution diagram is symmetric, but if it is not symmetric, then this is not. Unequal I section, yes, of course, unequal I section. Whether circular, no. Whether T section, no. Again, same repeated question is there. Okay, here this you may miss it. For the T section, or you can say cross section, or maybe plus section, this way distribution is there. That's why various typical diagrams you'll have to remember. For H section, this is asked for the H section, and you should know that H section it is. So let me elaborate on this diagram and this diagram. So what you have to understand is when the stress what you call shear stress distribution drops down, म्हणजे shear stress ची value जर कमी झाली, इथं काय झालेलं आहे, कमी झालेलं आहे, इथून इथपर्यंत जाताना कमी झाली. जर स्ट्रेस डिस्ट्रीब्युशन ची व्हॅल्यू कमी होत असेल तर ह्याचा अर्थ विड्थ वाढली. काय फॉर्म्युला टाऊचा? व्हॉट इज टाऊ फॉर्म्युला? SAY bar by IB. Okay, so you can say that tau is inversely proportionate with the B. Tau is inversely proportionate. Once you understand these things, it will be easy for you to get the correct distribution diagram, even though you don't remember. So here what happened, width was this, and suddenly it got increased. That's why there was a sudden jump or sudden drop, you can say the other way around. So that's why it was H. So as width increases, stress decreases. Similarly, here what is happening is width value was smaller, but width value got increased. So the stress value got decreased. That's why you will see this H here. Okay, let's go to the second level questions here. A beam has a solid circular cross section having diameter D, and if a section of a beam is subjected to shear force F, maximum shear stress in the cross section is given by. So it is 4/3 tau average 4/3, and you can see pi d square by 4, and if you substitute that, you get the answer. Not that difficult. Okay, rectangular section values are given, shear force values are given, 3/2 F by BD. You can substitute all these values, and depth has been asked after giving the maximum. So it is also easy one. Now here a timber beam is simply supported at the end. It carries the concentrated load at the mid span. Now this we will solve. Okay, carries the what you call point load at the mid span, and maximum shear stress is Q is 1.2 Newton. What is written? The maximum longitudinal stress sigma is given 1.2 Newtons per a maximum shear. Now here you see the combination of shear stress formula and bending stress formula. Such problem is we have taken in the class, but we will repeat. The ratio of span to the depth would be L by D, they have asked. So you have to remember that from the bending stress formula you have to calculate the length, I guess, and from the shear stress formula we have to calculate depth, and then you have to get L by D. And for the calculation of bending stress you have to use the bending moment diagram, and for the calculation of shear stress you have to use what you call is a bending moment shear force diagram. Confused? W, let me draw the SFD. SFD is like this. So W by 2 is maximum SF, and this is WL by 4. So from this you get S is equal to W by 2 and M is equal to WL by 4. WL by 4. Let me read correctly. Timber, simply supported beam and mixed concentrated load at a mid span. Okay. So now what is given? Maximum longitudinal stress, that is sigma, is given. Sigma is equal to M by Z. Sigma is equal to M by Z. Okay. And then what is M? WL by 4, and sigma is given as a 12. So you can put this as a 12. Whereas whether Z is given? No, Z is not given. So from this you can get the okay, Z is given. BD square by 12 rectangular. So BD square by 6 is there. Okay, so you can substitute this. So what you get is sigma is 12, M is WL by 4, and here it was BD square by 6. So 6 comes here. So point load is given as a W. Okay, so I need to calculate L from this. Okay, so what I will get here is L is equal to 12. Okay, so you can calculate 6 ones are 6, 6 twos are 12, so 4 twos are 8. BD square by W is the length. Okay, and now we will go to the shear force. Tau max is equal to 3 by 2 tau average. Okay, no, here we need formula of SA y bar by IB, or you can apply tau max is equal to 3 by 2 tau average. So that is 3 by 2 force, shear force is F divided by average is BD. Okay, average is BD, and then what you get is F is given. How much is F given? W by 2. So if you put W by 2 means is equal to 3 by 2 W by 2 B into D. So it will come out as a tau max is given, that is 1.2 3W by 4 BD, 3W by 4 BD. And as I told you, we have to get a W from this. Okay, W from this. So what you get is W. So how it will come? Bar chogat choice. So 4.8 BD, 4.8 BD divided by 3 is equal to W. Okay, so and then if I bring it here and substitute W, you will get answer. Maybe I will try. If some calculations are gone wrong, then it will not come. 4.8 divided by 3, so it comes as a 1.6. So this is coming 1.6 BD is equal to W. So if you substitute that, L is equal to how much? 8 BD square divided by W value is 1.6 BD So again, what you get is 8 divided by 1.6. 8 divided by 1.6. So answer comes 5. Very good. So L is equal to 5. You cancel BD square, it will remain D. So 5D, and then you get L by D is equal to 5. You get L by D is equal to 5. Can you see the answer? So L by D is equal to 5. So I have taken in depth. So this is kind of typical. Such problems may be asked. So you should know in advance. See how I could solve this problem fast, because I knew from the bending stress I can calculate length value, and from the shear stress I can calculate the W value. Because how I came to know, because here you can see this is the case. Shear force is nothing but like this. In this case length is not there, in this case length is there. Okay, let's go to the next problem maybe. Okay, the given figure for all dimensions are in mm, shown as a I section of the beam. The shear stress at a point P, it is asked shear stress at a point P, very close to the bottom flange. Please understand, P म्हणजे विड्थ किती असणार आहे 100. जर Q असेल तर विड्थ किती असणार आहे, whatever this width is there. Is it given? Width very close to flange. Flange width is not given, I guess. Uh, the shear stress at point P very close to bottom flange is 12 MPa. The stress at the Q in a wave is very close to flange is that is asked. This Q stress at the Q is asked, but I don't know whether B value is given. Maybe 20, I guess. Yeah, 20 is so 20 only. It is not given clearly, but 20. So you can take the ratio of these two stresses, and then you can find out the answer. But you may say also, if this width is not there, incomplete. But if you have to find out, it is if you assume this 20, you can get the stress at P divided by stress at Q is equal to it is just proportionate with width. You don't have to do all other thing, area etc are constant. So you can get. So if you want me to elaborate, it is very easy. For stress at Q and stress at P, the area beyond this is same only, and that's why you can say tau P is equal to SA Y bar by IB. Okay, so for this case, this part is constant, shear force is constant, A bar is constant, and then for tau Q also it is tau Q also it will come as a SA Y bar by I B2, we'll call B1 or BP and BQ. Okay, and then if you take ratio of tau P by tau Q, you will see that SA Y bar by I BP into, it will become I BQ divided by SA Y bar. SA Y bar is same for both the cases, so it get cancelled. I is same for both the cases, so it will be BQ by BP. So width at Q divided by width at P. Width at Q is 20 and width at Q is 100, and one of the stress is given, that is the stress in P is given, that is 12, and if you rearrange that, you get this answer. Okay. I guess we have covered almost all types of problem. They are coming repeatedly. We can maybe stop this same, all these problems are taken. So maybe we have half an hour. Let us see how much torsion part we can cover, and maybe require more time we can cover in the next lecture. So let me open the page related to torsion. You may be studying this torsion part first time, so I will go very slow. Some part of it I will take today, so that if you want you can study it. Okay. Is it visible? Torsion. Hello, hello. New page I have started, new topic. Can someone give feedback? सगळे आहेत का? आवाज येतोय का जरा मध्ये? ठीक आहे. येतोय का आवाज? Okay. So, okay, good. I am getting response from the chat. You guys are lazy, not opening modules. Okay, torsion. Unfortunately, it is removed, I guess, from your syllabus, but it is not removed from the GATE syllabus. So you have to study. So you have seen, you can recall there are 3 types of forces and 3 types of movements. So on any body, if you say, if I take any body on general or any particle, there will be 3 directions. You can say, let us label something like this. If we call this X, if you call this Y, and if you call this Z, and you can call it as a force along X. This you can call it as a force along the Y, and this is, you can call it as a force along the Z. So you can call this as a normal forces, that is Fx, Fy, and Fz. And there will be 3 kind of movements: force about X, force about, sorry, movement about X, 3 movements: movement about X, movement about Y, and movement about Z. Movement about Z. Okay, so I will draw it diagram with respect to this rod. Okay, so if X, Y, and this is my rod. Okay, so along this center, if you call it as a Z. Okay, so along the body axis, here we are considering body axis, along the body axis. So along the movement about X, movement about Y. Okay, so you can see this picture here. So movement about X, if this is X and this is Y, the movement about X will create bending like this. So it will be called as out of plane bending. Movement about Y will bend in plane bending. Movement about Y is in plane bending. So there will be 2 bendings. One is in plane and another is out of plane. Usually when we are doing beam analysis in our civil engineering, that bending is called as out of plane bending. In plane bending is also comes. जर horizontal force beam वरती आला तर कसलं bending येणार? In plane bending. बीमच्या, आपण नेहमी बीमला फोर्सेस कुठून लावतो? वरतून लावतो. पण साइडनं फोर्सेस लावले तर कसलं बेंडिंग येणार? इन प्लेन बेंडिंग. आणि फॉर बोथ द केसेस, if you apply whether in plane bending or out of plane bending, stress generated will be m by z only. Only z value will change. That is whether z is about X or about Y. That is the difference. But if we apply the moment about the body axis, जर असा बीम आहे तर बीमच्या बॉडी ऍक्सिस बरोबर मुवमेंट लावला, that movement is called as torsion. That movement is called as torsion. Once again, I will repeat, maybe through this mobile. You can see this, whatever force I'm applying, that is called as, that will create out of plane bending. And if I apply perpendicular in this way, it will create the in plane bending. Whereas about its body, if we apply the moment, that is nothing but torsion. That is nothing but torsion. If moment is applied in a plane perpendicular to the longitudinal axis, then that beam or shaft will be subjected to torsion. You can note here how torsion gets created, and then there will be a shear stresses generated due to the torsion. The shaft transmitting power, these are the example: L beam, portico beam, curved beam, closed coiled springs. These torsional forces will come. Okay, let's go to the maybe next slide. So similar to the flexure formula, there is a formula for the torsion formula. That is, again, can you remember flexural formula was derived with some assumption. त्या assumption ला काय म्हणतात? कोणीतरी अनम्यूट करून सांगता का? फ्लेक्चरल फॉर्म्युला कुठल्या assumption? एक मेन assumption आहे. Someone unmute, answer. Hello. Gosavi, I'm not getting your audio. Some other person. Chat मध्ये टाकू शकता तुम्ही आन्सर. कुठला assumption असणार आहे? So flexure formula was derived based on the pure bending theory assumption. Similarly, for torsion formula also there are assumptions, and that assumption we will see in the next slide, but you should remember it's a similar to the flexural formula. मी इथं flexural formula लिहितो म्हणजे तुम्हाला लक्षात ठेवायला सोपं जाईल. Okay, लक्षात ठेवायला सोपं जाईल. Okay, good. Dhotre has answered correctly. Okay, let me quickly write the flexure formula so that you will get the equivalence. What was the flexural formula? M by I is equal to sigma by Y is equal to, what was that? E by R. We will write here, they have not written in sequence, we will write in similar sequence. It will be T by J is equal to tau by R is equal to C theta by L. So we can write in a similar fashion. So here, if you remember, you will be able to remember. T is what? Torque applied. Okay. J is what? Polar moment of inertia or perpendicular. Do you remember? So we had taken in the moment inertia. Tau is shear stress or maximum shear stress due to torsion. R, radius of shaft. Please don't get confused with this R. इथला R जो फ्लेक्चर फॉर्म्युला होता तो रेडियस ऑफ कर्वेचर होता. इथला R जो आहे तो रेडियस ऑफ शाफ्ट आहे. C किंवा G म्हणू शकता त्याला. C किंवा G म्हणू शकता. C is nothing but shear modulus and theta is twist in the section, whereas L is the length of the shaft. And good part काय? This polar moment of inertia, because this theory is valid only and only for the circular section. Why? कुणी मला विचारलं का सर दुसऱ्या ह्याला व्हॅलिड होत नाही, तर other, if you take rectangle or any other trapezoidal shape of shaft, there will be some kind of warping phenomena will come that are ignored in this theory, and that's why this theory is only applicable for circular section, and that's why दुसरा कुठला sectionचा polar moment of inertia you don't have to remember. जर तुम्हाला क्युरियोसिटी म्हणून लक्षात ठेवायचं असेल लक्षात ठेवा, नाही तर म्हणणार दुसऱ्या कुठल्या शेपला पोलार मुवमेंट ऑफ इनर्शिया नसतो असं पवार सरांनी सांगितलं. डोंट लिसन बाय convenience. Okay, so what I am trying to tell is for the circular section and hollow circular section only you have to remember. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, what are the assumptions? So as I told you, this formula is based on the assumptions only. Plane normal section of the shaft remain plane after twisting. This is reasonably good assumption for circular section only. Torsion is uniform along the shaft. Material of the shaft is homogeneous and isotropic. Radii remains straight after torsion, and the stress is proportionate with strain. All the stresses are within the elastic limit. Okay. Further, stress setup at any point in the cross section is one of the pure shear or simple shear. The longitudinal axis is a neutral axis. So you have to remember it is about neutral. The shear stress will vary linearly. इथं कन्फ्यूज हो नका. काय कन्फ्युजन होईल? आपण जे बीम मध्ये shear stress येते, whatever shear stress we get in the beam, it's a distribution कसं असतंय बीम मधल्या shear stressचं बिकॉज ऑफ shear force येणारा टाव इज इक्वल टू SA y बार. आत्ताच शिकलो आपण 5 मिनिटापूर्वी. त्याचं shear stress distribution कसं असतंय? कोणीतरी अनम्यूट करा आणि त्याचं सांगा. लिनियर असतंय, पॅराबोलिक असतंय की काय असतंय?
Parabolic.
पॅराबोलिक. व्हेरी गुड. आणि मॅक्सिमम व्हॅल्यू कुठं असते? जरा अनम्यूट करा.
न्यूट्रल ऍक्सिस ला.
व्हेरी गुड. दंगा झाला तरी चालतंय. माझ्याकडे म्यूट ऑल पॉवर आहे. तुम्हाला येतं की नाही म्यूट करायला? अनम्यूट करू शकतो मी 2 मिनिटं. अनम्यूट केलेलं आहे. सगळ्यांचे आवाज ऐकू येतात आता, कोण आहे की नाही. ठीक आहे. आणि बेंडिंग स्ट्रेस मॅक्सिमम कुठं असते? न्यूट्रल ऍक्सिसला असते की एक्स्ट्रीम फायबरला असते? कुठं असते? एक्स्ट्रीम फायबरला असते. व्हेरी गुड, व्हेरी गुड. आणि तशीच द वे वी हॅव दी एक्स्ट्रीम फायबर स्ट्रेस, एक्स्ट्रीम फायबरला जशी स्ट्रेस असते, जसं बीम बेंडिंग मध्ये आपल्याला बघितलं की एक्स्ट्रीम फायबरला बेंडिंग स्ट्रेस मॅक्सिमम, एक्स्ट्रीम स्ट्रेस मॅक्सिमम असते, तसंच ही जी टॉर्शन मुळे येणारी शियर स्ट्रेस आहे, द शियर स्ट्रेस ड्यू टू टॉर्शन, इट्स अ डिस्ट्रीब्युशन इज लाईक दिस. ऍट द न्यूट्रल ऍक्सिस शियर स्ट्रेस ड्यू टू टॉर्शन इज 0 and the maximum shear stress will be at the extreme fiber. So and it is again linear, and of course याला साइन नसते. Torsional section modulus ZP, the way we have sectional modulus for bending moments, that is I by Y max. Similarly for this also there is a something called as a ZP. So it is nothing but polar moment of inertia divided by radius of shaft, and then we can get the T by J is equal to tau S by R, and that's why T is equal to tau S by J by R. And then we can write the similar to M is equal to sigma Z formula आपल्याला जसा माहिती आहे तसं T is equal to you can write tau S into ZS, tau S into ZP. That is, what is tau S? Maximum shear stress due to torsion. And what is ZP? That is torsional section modulus. Okay, let's go to the next part. Okay, for solid circular section, then you can write TS into ZP will become pi d cube by 16. For hollow section, it will become tau S into ZP, that is nothing but pi d1 raised to 4 minus d2 raised to 4 by 16 d1. D1 is outer and D2 is inner diameter. Torsional rigidity, sometimes it is required CJ. So how it is coming from the torsion related formula. So I will elaborate here if you have got confused. Do you remember? So how to remember from flexure M by I, sigma by Y, and what was that? E by R. Similar to that, we have to write formula torsion related. Can we write T by IP or J we are calling here. J is equal to tau by R is equal to C theta by L. C theta by L. Now we are interested in, we can ignore this part and we can write T by J is equal to C theta by L, and from that you get theta is equal to T into L. T is the torque in the shaft, L is the length of the shaft, and then you can have Cj. So the Cj is called as a torsional rigidity. Sometimes if they give direct value of torsional rigidity, you may not understand what is torsional rigidity. So you should know the term Cj or Gj. Cj or Gj, where G or C is nothing but modulus of rigidity or shear modulus. Okay, let me go to next slide. Okay, torsion calculation is done from the power transmission. So most of the times this shaft design for the torque is mainly for the power transmission purpose, but there are other sources of generating torque also, but mainly it is for power transmission. So that's why we have to get the relation between power and torque. So you know P is equal to 2 pi NT by 60, where P is a power in watt. Please remember here units. If you make mistake in units, you will make mistake in calculation of torque. So in this formula, P is in watt and T is in Newton meter and N is in RPM. N is in RPM. Why N is in RPM? That's why it is divided by 60. If it is given in RPS, जर RPS मध्ये दिलं तर त्याचा फॉर्म्युला, if N is given in RPS, revolutions per second. आता इथं N divided by 60 केलं, ह्याचा अर्थ कशात दिलाय? रिव्होल्यूशन पर मिनिट दिलेला आहे. जर आपल्याला N हे जर RPS दिलं असेल किंवा RPS ला दुसरं आपल्याला नाव काय, हर्ट्ज पण म्हणू शकता. जर हर्ट्ज मध्ये दिलेला असेल तर फॉर्म्युला बिकम 2 पाय NT आणि डिवायडेड बाय 60 कधी होतो, N असेल कधी RPM मध्ये. ओके, and please remember this will be in the exam they may give answer kilowatt म्हणजे you have to convert it into watt. Okay, let's go to next page. Some problem solving. A 60 mm diameter, 60 mm diameter shaft is subjected to a torque of 6 kilonewton meter and G is given. Maximum shear stress induced in the shaft in Newton per mm square will be. So you can see the diameter of the shaft is given, D. Torque is given readily, 6 kilonewton meter. Rigidity, that is G modulus or modulus of rigidity is given as a G, 8 into 10 raised to 4 MPa. You have, what you have to find out is maximum stress. So T by J is equal to tau by R. So you substitute all these values for the circular section. You should know this pi d J value is pi d raised to 4 by 32 and then R is d by 2, and if you do that you get this answer. Again earlier was related to T and J. Now this is related to rotation, theta. The torsion is applied to a circular shaft results in a twist of 1 degree over a length of 1 meter. The maximum stress induced is 120 Newton per mm. The modulus of rigidity of the shaft is this. What is the radius of the shaft? So you can remember the formula or recall the formula. What was the formula? Complete formula I will write. T by J is equal to tau by R is equal to C theta by L. C theta by L. And what is asked? Radius is asked. Okay. So you can use this part of the formula. So you get the R is equal to, what will happen? Tau into L divided by C theta. Okay. And from that, you can substitute tau is given, maximum stress is given, and all these values. If you do, you get the radius value. Okay, let's go to the next. Design of shaft. Okay, design of shaft against the maximum permissible stress. You can directly, this is what is done here is nothing great. So actually, with respect to T by J, you have tau by R, and then what is given here is you have to substitute J value and R value to directly get the diameter. So what is J? It is a pi d cube by 32, whereas what is R? R is nothing but diameter divided by 2. If you substitute this, what you get is T by pi d cube by 32, pi d cube by 32 is equal to tau, sorry, pi, not d cube, d raised to 4, I'm sorry, d raised to 4 divided by d by 2. And then what are we interested in is a diameter related term. So you can rearrange this. So it will become pi d raised to 4 by 32, it will go to the top, divided by 2 by d is equal to t by tau, t by tau. So this will be 2 and this will be 16, and this d and this will become cube. So what will happen? You can take 16 that side. So it will remain d cube is equal to t 16t, 16t, and pi will also come to denominator, pi into tau, and then you can take cube root. D is equal to pi, 16t by pi into tau, okay, raised to cube. So cube root. So this is what you can, some such shorter formula you can remember to save the time, otherwise nothing new in this. Sometimes if torque is given, maximum stress is given, if you remember this formula quickly, you can get the diameter of shaft without all doing this, all this stuff. So here you can see whatever I discussed, the same has been derived, and you get the answer. Okay, composite shaft, and the way we have seen the composite bars in series and bars in what you call parallel, correct, bars in series and bars in parallel. Similar concept we will have to remember for this shafts. Maybe this we have another 10 minutes, we will understand this concept, and then we will take practice problems afterwards. So maybe next time when we get chance. So there are composite bars, shafts, composite shafts. What is meant by composite shafts? So the shafts which are made up of different diameter and maybe of different material, maybe of different diameter and maybe of different material. Especially here, I guess material is varied or not. Yes, material is also varied, and diameter is varied. So this is when series means what? The way same concept that of the bar, the one shape of the bar and another shape of the bar attached one after another. Then you have similar to the your bar formula in the shaft also, you have the torques will be equal. T1 is equal to T2 is equal to T3 equal to T4. You have to remember that condition. And then there will be addition of twist generated in shaft 1 plus twist generated in shaft 2 plus twist generated in shaft 3. That's why a total twist is nothing but theta 1 plus theta 2 plus theta 3, and likewise, and you can substitute, as this is T1 equal to T2 is equal to T will not change, whereas length may change, material if changes, C may change, And if geometry, that is diameter, changes, then J will change. Okay, so that's how when there are bars in series. Let us see. Maybe I will not take an example. We will focus on examples when we'll resume next time. Immediately, let me understand bars in parallel. Here, little confusing diagram is there. Actually, bars in parallel case should be something like this. Bar, one bar and another bar, they are attached one upon another. एकावर एक जर shaft असतील तर that is called, here it should have been continued. This part has been hatched, or yes, actually this is also allowed, but you have to then lengths will change. So one and another inside, so they are one upon another. So you focus more on this to understand what is meant by parallel. What is meant by parallel? Their CG is passing through one another, whereas the other case it was one after another. In case of bars in series, it was one after another. Here it is one bar is inside another bar. One bar is inside another bar. Okay, and that's why what happens is theta, both the rotations will be equal rotations. Both the rotations will be equal rotations, and but the addition of the torque will be there. So addition of the torque will be there. Addition of the torque will be there. Okay, Nazneen, please mute your audio. So you can do that. Okay, so I guess that's what you have to understand the difference, what is bars in series and bars in parallel. So as due to time constraint, we will stop here. We have covered a lot of things. I have noticed, I have taken